Tyler Henry's future is looking bright following brain tumor surgery. After all, the Hollywood Medium alum said he's doing much better 1 month after doctors successfully removed a non-cancerous fluid-filled cyst near the center of his brain.
Tyler Henry, a face Hollywood knows for comforting others, for delivering messages from the ones they've lost.
As Tyler Henry was finding fame as the star of E's Hollywood Medium, helping celebrities communicate with their loved ones from beyond the grave.
Yet almost no one sees the weight he carries behind the curtain. Behind the fame lies a quiet world of pain that most people would never imagine he's living through. He is only 29, and still, life has tested him in ways far heavier than his age. The young man millions call a medium is, in truth, someone fighting battles far deeper than the ones he speaks about on camera. How does a person carry so much sorrow and still show strength to the world? How does someone guide others through grief while silently drowning in his own? And the most heartbreaking part, so much of his struggle has remained hidden. There is a truth behind his calm voice, a story behind every smile, and a storm he never asked for. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear will reveal a side of Tyler Henry the world has never truly seen. The gift that changed everything. Tyler Henry was only 10 when life first whispered secrets no child should have to hear. It wasn't fame or cameras that shaped him, it was an experience that felt both terrifying and undeniable. One day, he foresaw his grandmother's death. At the time, he didn't understand it as a gift. To him, it was simply a moment of confusion, a message that came without warning or explanation. The news hit him hard when his father confirmed what he had already felt. That moment was the first of many where the line between the living and the departed seemed thin, almost fragile. Unlike most kids who spent their time learning math, games, or chores, Tyler began grappling with a reality that most adults could not even imagine. He carried messages of sorrow and hope that he had no experience handling. This early awareness isolated him. Friends didn't understand why he sometimes spoke to invisible people or why he became quiet and withdrawn. Family sometimes found it strange or unsettling, unsure how to comfort him. The boy who should have been carefree and curious was already learning the weight of things no child should feel. As years passed, Tyler's experiences grew more intense. Dreams became visions, fleeting whispers in empty rooms, sudden emotions that weren't his own, and insights into events before they happened became constant companions. Each instance deepened his understanding, but also his loneliness. He could not share this world with others, and they could not comprehend it. By middle school, the gap between Tyler and his peers widened. While other children laughed, argued, or played games, Tyler's mind wrestled with grief he could not explain. Even the simple desire to belong became complicated because he carried an invisible burden. This early psychic awakening, though remarkable, came with its own sorrow. The gift that would one day inspire millions also planted the seeds of doubt, fear, and isolation. Yet Tyler didn't shy away. Even as a child, he sought to understand. Questions like, "Why me?" and "Why now?" echoed in his mind, and each answer seemed just out of reach. He was learning slowly that his life would never be ordinary. Every interaction, every conversation carried the weight of unseen knowledge. It wasn't just visions and whispers. Tyler began sensing emotions surrounding him, sensing grief and longing in ways ordinary people couldn't. He felt the sharp sting of someone's loss, even miles away. Sometimes it was overwhelming, almost unbearable, the physical ache of another person's sorrow pressing on his young shoulders. This section of his life shows the paradox, a child given a rare gift, yet burdened with an adult's responsibilities. While many discover their talents slowly, Tyler's arrived suddenly and demanded understanding before he was ready. Each psychic encounter brought wonder and awe, yes, but also a quiet, unspoken heartbreak. The variability that would define his life also marked him as different, and for a child, different can feel unbearably heavy. By the time Tyler reached adolescence, the early psychic moments were no longer isolated events. They were constant companions, some beautiful, some frightening, all deeply personal. This awakening taught him early that empathy and pain often walk together. He began to understand that the world he was stepping into, one between the living and the departed, would demand courage, resilience, and the strength to endure loneliness that few others could understand. Even now, reflecting on those early years, it's clear that Tyler Henry's journey began not on television, not in front of a camera, but in the quiet, shadowed corners of childhood, where a boy first realized the weight of seeing what others could not, and the price of carrying secrets meant to comfort, yet could never comfort him in return. The loneliness behind the gift. Tyler Henry grew up in California's San Joaquin Valley, a place where everyone knew each other, and differences were often noticed before they were understood. For most kids, childhood meant laughter, friendships, and the carefree exploration of the world. For Tyler, it meant navigating a reality few could see and fewer could accept. His psychic experiences, once mysterious flashes of insight, began to separate him from the world around him. School became a complicated landscape. Friends would play and joke, while Tyler sometimes sat quietly, processing images and emotions that were impossible to explain. Questions from classmates about talking to ghosts or weird predictions left him shrinking back. Some were curious, others were skeptical, and a few reacted with fear or teasing. These early moments of rejection were subtle but powerful, shaping a sense of otherness that would linger well into adulthood. Family dynamics added another layer. Tyler's upbringing was complicated by a mix of love, expectation, and secrecy. Even those closest to him could not always understand the unseen world he experienced daily. While he was encouraged to use his gift, the fear of misunderstanding or judgment often made him silent. That silence, in turn, deepened the isolation he felt. The religious environment of his community heightened this tension. Clairvoyance was often met with suspicion. Some elders labeled it a gift, others called it dangerous. Tyler learned quickly that honesty about what he could do could lead to judgment, whispered rumors, or outright dismissal. By the time he entered middle school, he had learned to navigate two worlds at once, one visible, one hidden, each with its own rules, each demanding careful steps. Teenage years brought no relief. High school amplified the struggle to belong. Social events, school projects, even casual conversations required effort to mask the constant awareness of things no one else sensed. Being different was no longer just a matter of feeling isolated. It was a daily negotiation, balancing authenticity with survival. The emotional weight grew heavier as he realized that his uniqueness, the very trait that would eventually become his strength, was also what made connecting with peers difficult. Yet Tyler persisted. He developed coping mechanisms even before he fully understood them. Retreating into solitude, writing down his visions, and observing quietly became ways to survive the constant pressure of being misunderstood. These habits, though lonely, formed the foundation for the resilience that would later carry him through public scrutiny and personal crises. It wasn't only social rejection that shaped him. The community's mixed reactions left scars of self-doubt. Questions like, "Am I too strange, or is this a curse?" haunted him in quiet moments. Even at home, there was the unspoken tension of navigating a gift that both inspired awe and provoked fear. Tyler's emotional landscape was complex. Pride in his ability, shame for being different, and a growing desire to belong somewhere, anywhere, without explanation. Despite the loneliness, there were glimmers of hope. A few people, often adults who recognized something extraordinary in him, offered support. These rare connections became anchors in a world where misunderstanding was the default. Each small affirmation, each quiet acknowledgement, reinforced the delicate balance between isolation and the determination to embrace his gift. By adulthood, Tyler's early experiences of community rejection and isolation had profoundly shaped him. They created a deep empathy for others' suffering, a patience born of solitude, and a sensitivity to the unseen struggles everyone carries. At the same time, they planted seeds of caution, a carefulness about whom to trust, what to reveal, and how much of his true self to share. This isolation, both imposed and internalized, would resurface later when fame brought scrutiny from the public, criticism from skeptics, and questions about authenticity. The foundation laid in his childhood, a mixture of fear, misunderstanding, and quiet support, would prepare him for the complex world of celebrity while reminding him, always, of the cost of being different. The journey through isolation wasn't just a chapter of pain. It was the crucible that forged Tyler Henry's empathy, courage, and ability to connect deeply with others, even when his own heart felt unseen. But if isolation was only the first trial, the next challenges would test his body as well as his spirit, in ways no child could have imagined. The body that couldn't keep up. Even as Tyler Henry's gift grew, life reminded him that the human body has limits. Long before Hollywood cameras shone on him, he faced battles that no one would expect from a young, vibrant teen. Born 3 months premature, his early days were a fight for survival. Fragile from the start, his body carried a vulnerability that would shadow him for years, a quiet reminder that the gift he possessed came with a human cost. At 18, Tyler's life took a sharp, terrifying turn. He was diagnosed with hydrocephalus caused by an arachnoid brain cyst, a condition that trapped fluid inside his skull, increasing pressure to dangerous levels. The situation became life-threatening almost overnight. Emergency brain surgery was necessary, a procedure that, for anyone, is daunting for Tyler. It was a stark confrontation with mortality at an age when most are discovering freedom, not facing death. Even after recovery, the echoes of fear lingered. Every headache, every dizzying moment reminded him of fragility, of the body that could betray him despite his extraordinary mind. And yet, Tyler continued reading, observing, feeling the emotions of those around him, carrying their grief, their loss, while silently managing his own survival. The trials didn't stop there. In late 2019, just before the world changed with the pandemic, Tyler suffered a collapsed lung. Multiple air leaks made reinflation difficult, and 3 weeks in the hospital became an emotional and physical ordeal. The damage was severe, leaving him acutely aware of the precariousness of life. The illness forced him to confront not just mortality, but the fragile boundary between life and death, a boundary he already navigated spiritually, but now had to face physically. Then, in May 2025, Tyler revealed another life-altering medical challenge: the removal of a colloid cyst near the center of his brain. Not the first brain surgery he had faced, it was yet another reminder that even extraordinary minds live in vulnerable bodies. Each operation, each brush with death, carried its own weight of anxiety, pain, fear, emotions he often could not share publicly. For Tyler, these medical emergencies weren't just physical trials. They intertwined with his emotional and psychic world. Facing mortality at such a young age intensified his understanding of grief, loss, and the fragility of life. The very people who came to him for comfort and closure could not see that he, too, needed the same reassurance, the same protection, the same care. These repeated brushes with death shaped his perspective. Tyler began to see life as both precious and fleeting, and each experience added depth to his empathy. When he delivered messages from the departed, it was not only skill, but lived experience, the knowledge of how delicate life is, how thin the veil can be, how every heartbeat counts. Yet, enduring pain and surviving near-death experiences also brought loneliness. Hospital rooms are quiet, and the moments between doctors and machines leave ample space for fear to settle in. Tyler often spent these hours reflecting on life, wondering if his gift was a blessing or another test of endurance. He carried the weight of his mortality in parallel with the burdens of others' grief, a dual load that few could imagine. Despite everything, Tyler's resilience shone through. Each surgery, each crisis, became a lesson in courage, a testament to the human spirit. He returned to his work not as someone invincible, but as someone intimately aware of fragility. This awareness deepened his readings, giving him a profound authenticity. Audiences could feel the sincerity not only in his words, but in the quiet strength of a man who had faced death and chosen to keep moving forward. By the end of these trials, it was clear Tyler Henry's life was never only about the supernatural. His body, vulnerable and tested repeatedly, carried the invisible scars of survival. Every heartbeat, every surgery, every night alone in the hospital ward added layers to the story of a young man whose gift and suffering were inseparable. The weight of mortality was no longer abstract. It was a constant companion, one that would continue to challenge him emotionally, physically, and spiritually, even as fame and public scrutiny entered his world. And as Tyler learned, surviving the body's betrayals was only the beginning. The next battles would test the mind, the heart, and the very essence of who he was. The weight of belief and doubt. Fame arrived quietly at first, almost like a shadow following Tyler Henry. Television cameras, Netflix features, and celebrity clients all painted a picture of a gifted young medium whose calm demeanor and gentle presence brought comfort to strangers. But the applause and admiration masked another reality, a relentless undercurrent of skepticism, judgment, and relentless questioning of his very authenticity. Every reading Tyler delivered carried not only the emotional weight of the client's grief, but also the invisible eyes of millions who doubted him. Critics whispered about hot readings, tricks, and manipulation. Every heartfelt message, every tear shed on camera was scrutinized under a lens of suspicion. Tyler, who had carried the burdens of others for years in private, now faced public doubt, a weight far heavier than any psychic message. The scrutiny was both invasive and personal. Social media threads dissected his every movement, claiming that his calm demeanor was a performance, that his insights were derived not from a spiritual gift, but from careful observation and emotional cues. Articles questioned whether he exploited grief for fame, whether his celebrity clients were part of an elaborate facade. For someone who had grown up isolated and misunderstood, the skepticism struck at the core of his identity. Yet Tyler faced this world with quiet resolve. He often explained that doubt was natural. Skepticism, he said, is a reflection of humanity's discomfort with the unknown. And perhaps in some way he understood it better than anyone, because he had spent a lifetime straddling two realities, knowing things others couldn't, yet being unable to fully explain them. Every question, every accusation echoed what he had experienced as a child: disbelief, misunderstanding, and fear from those closest to him. The intensity of public scrutiny intensified after his Netflix series, Life After Death, with Tyler Henry. Millions watched him deliver deeply personal messages to strangers, revealing truths about their lives, their losses, and their secrets. Some viewers were moved to tears. Others dissected every gesture, every phrase, looking for signs of manipulation. The very gift that brought solace became a target. The world wanted miracles, but only on Tyler's terms. Amid the pressure, Tyler remained grounded. He understood that authenticity cannot be proven to everyone, and that belief is never universal. Yet, it was impossible to ignore the emotional toll. Critics and skeptics unknowingly amplified the loneliness he had carried since childhood. The world celebrated his ability to touch lives, but few acknowledged the personal cost, the mental exhaustion, the fear of making mistakes, and the burden of being constantly watched and judged. There were moments when doubt infiltrated even Tyler's own thoughts. Was he doing enough? Were his messages sincere? Did he misinterpret the visions? The internal questioning was relentless, a quiet echo of the childhood isolation and community rejection that had shaped him. Fame did not erase the solitude. It magnified it. Each public interaction became a balancing act between compassion for others, authenticity in delivery, and the constant awareness of skeptical eyes watching every movement. Still, the scrutiny also forged resilience. Tyler learned to compartmentalize, to hold space for grief and skepticism simultaneously. He developed mental boundaries, separating his own emotions from those of clients while remaining empathetic. The very criticism he faced became fuel, shaping his voice and sharpening his ability to connect, to read not just the room, but the unspoken truths of those who came to him for guidance. But the emotional strain was undeniable. Every reading, every public appearance carried echoes of the private pain he had long hidden. The fears, doubts, and scars from childhood isolation are now intertwined with the constant judgment of the public. Tyler had learned that being seen does not always mean being understood, a lesson he had carried since he first realized his gift separated him from others. The irony was clear. The world sought comfort from Tyler's abilities, yet many refused to accept the human behind the gift. Behind the serene expressions, the gentle words, and the calm voice was a man still grappling with personal grief, health struggles, and the complex reality of knowing too much about life and death. Every moment of public admiration came paired with the silent weight of doubt. This scrutiny, while painful, also revealed the essence of Tyler's journey. It is not only a story of supernatural talent, but of enduring courage, the strength to carry the burdens of others while facing the relentless questioning of one's own authenticity. The young medium who once felt isolated in his small community now stood at the crossroads of fame, belief, and doubt, and the emotional weight of the world rested heavily on his shoulders. Yet even amid skepticism, Tyler's story was far from over. The public gaze, critical and unrelenting as it was, could not erase the tragedies he had faced in private, the heartbreak, the personal loss, and the battles with mortality that had shaped him. And as the next chapter would reveal, the most profound emotional struggles often come not from critics or cameras, but from the intimate pain of loss and the relentless echo of grief. The heart behind the gift. Even as Tyler Henry's fame grew, his heart carried burdens that no public applause could ease. The gift that allowed him to comfort strangers also forced him to confront loss in a deeply personal way. The first love he lost, his close friend Terry, was a heartbreak unlike any other. Tyler sensed the coming tragedy long before it happened, a painful foresight that made every moment together bittersweet. Unable to change fate, he distanced himself at times, hoping to soften the blow, yet the decision left a lingering ache of guilt and sorrow that would follow him for years. Tyler's experiences with death were never abstract. Every message he delivered, every spirit he connected with, reminded him of the fragility of life. His own grief intertwined with the emotions of those he served, creating an emotional weight that was both heavy and unrelenting. The variability that brought comfort to others often left him emotionally drained, struggling to find solace for himself. Coming out as gay added another layer of challenge. It was not a single moment, but a journey repeated over and over, facing disbelief, denial, and sometimes rejection, even from those he loved most. Tyler had to navigate his identity while carrying the expectations of fame and the demands of his gift. The tension between self-acceptance and external scrutiny created an inner battle that was invisible to the audience but ever present in his life. Every loss, every doubt, and every quiet struggle shaped the man behind the medium. Tyler's calm demeanor, the soothing presence that fans admired, masked a complex inner world filled with grief, fear, and the relentless weight of responsibility. Even in moments of joy, there lingered a subtle tension, the awareness that life could change in an instant, that death could enter uninvited, and that his empathy came with a price. Yet through these hardships, Tyler found strength. The pain, while heavy, deepened his compassion, honed his understanding, and made his gift more authentic. Each heartbreak became a lesson in resilience, teaching him to carry grief with grace, to face mortality with courage, and to connect with others on a level few could imagine. His story reminds us that behind the extraordinary abilities lies a human being, one who experiences love, loss, and heartbreak just as vividly as anyone else. And while the world sees him perform miracles, the quiet, private weight of his emotional journey continues to shape every reading, every connection, and every step he takes. What comes next is not just about the public story, but about how Tyler manages to carry these burdens, turning pain into purpose and heartbreak into the very essence of his work. Tyler Henry's hidden struggles. Tyler Henry's journey is not just a story of fame, gifts, or the supernatural. It is a story of a young man navigating life with a rare ability while carrying burdens that most will never see. Every psychic reading, every tear shed in private or on camera, is layered with the weight of personal pain, the grief of lost friends, the scars of serious health battles, and the quiet, ongoing struggle for acceptance. Behind the calm, gentle persona that audiences admire is a mind constantly aware of mortality. Tyler lives between two worlds, the seen and the unseen, and the boundaries between them are never clear. The emotions he feels are amplified by both his empathy and the knowledge of what lies ahead for those he connects with. Even in moments of laughter or joy, there is the subtle echo of loss, a shadow that reminds him how fragile life truly is. What makes Tyler's story so compelling is not only the gift he possesses, but the human resilience he demonstrates. He has endured surgeries, life-threatening illnesses, public scrutiny, and profound personal loss. Yet he continues to stand, to connect, and to bring comfort to others. Every challenge has shaped him, deepened his empathy, and made his presence more meaningful. In a world where fame often masks the struggles of the individual, Tyler's journey reminds us that extraordinary abilities come with extraordinary burdens. He is more than the messages he delivers, or the spiritual guidance he offers. He is a human being grappling with grief, identity, and the fragile nature of life itself. As we reflect on his story, it becomes clear that Tyler Henry is not simply a Hollywood medium. He is a testament to courage, resilience, and the quiet endurance of the human spirit. And as the next chapter of his life unfolds, we are left with one lingering thought. Behind every gift, there is a story of pain, perseverance, and a heart that continues to carry the weight of both life and loss. Tyler Henry's journey is a reminder that behind every extraordinary gift lies a human being facing very real struggles. The calm, comforting medium the world sees is only part of the story. Beneath the spotlight, he carries the weight of personal loss, serious health battles, and the constant pressure of being questioned and misunderstood. Every reading he gives, every connection he makes, is touched by his own experiences of grief and resilience. His story teaches us that strength is not measured by fame or talent, but by the courage to continue despite pain and uncertainty. Tyler's life is a testament to the human spirit, a delicate balance between heartbreak and hope, doubt and belief, loss and love. If Tyler's journey moved you, took you behind the fame, and showed you the hidden challenges he endures, make sure to stay part of this conversation. Like this video if his story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that reveal the truth behind the people we admire. The story of Tyler Henry reminds us that even those who guide others through loss are still learning to heal themselves. And as his life continues to unfold, we will be right here, uncovering the heart behind the gift.